So we're going to jump right into round one. This hand's a pretty obvious keep here. It's just like one of those Merfolk Aether Vial hands. It's not too much to debate with it. So we get to go Vial, and then depending on whether we draw a land or not, we have Curse Catcher Seize or Curse Catcher Relic or Curse Catcher Lord, depending on matchup. Seize on the draw does get a lot worse, just because like there's 2 drops that matter. This matchup, I'm expecting to be a little rough. Uh, you can beat Bogles, like you can go over the top of what they're doing, but they are very fast, and I did not keep the most aggressive hand of all time. Yeah, this looks like a hand where I'm going to be dying on turn 4. So I guess I'm just putting 2 creatures onto the battlefield this turn. I think I'm going to get in the habit of end of turn activating Aether Vial regardless. It's like, in real life, people are just like, wait, what? You just activate Aether Vial? Then that's not normal. That's not how people do things, typically. But on Moto, the activation always occurs in the proper order of activate, do they have a response, etc. So you can kind of like force action out of people. Yeah, this game looks pretty horrible. I'm especially because that is trample. I'm not actually sure that I have any reasonable outs here. I guess I'm not dead next turn. But my opponent's at like 30 life or something. So Cavern. Oh, that's cool. Cavern now auto does all the creature types in play as like the top, so you don't have to dig too deep. Not really sure what I'm trying to accomplish here. Um, like I could attack for 2 by spreading, seizing a land, and getting Island Walk. Yeah. No, we're good. I'm not. I can block with. No. I'll give him 1 shot to misclick through attacks, but as soon as it got to the point where I couldn't just bust my curse catchers to survive, there's not realistic. Yep. We're good. We're good. Okay. Lesson learned. Bogles beats the crap out of dirtily creature decks. Okay. Dismember out. Relic of Progenitus, not a magic card here. Vapor Snag, also not a magic card. Spreading Seas, very important because getting the Island Walk through a Vigilance attacker is pretty key. Tidebinder Mage, unexciting. That's a lot of cards. Hibernation, yes please. Get out of here every card in my opponent's deck. Master of Waves actually creates enough chump blockers to do stuff. Spell Pierce, great. Interactive. Remand. Trying to figure out if I want Tidebinder. Well, I'm going to need some number of Tidebinders still in my deck. And technically, they still have a use if my opponent's on a Dryad Arbor hand. Actually, so here's the debate. I can either have answers for Core Spirit Dancer and Vapor Snag, or I can have Tidebinders that just like Tidebind. Rather rather just have creatures with power and toughness. Watch them. I'm just going to get, like, Spirit Dance out of this game. Not boarding in Dispel despite Bogle's decks typically having Path, because I just, like, don't want to get into this position where I'm, like, hoping they have a Path so I can line up my Dispel with it when, like, it just doesn't seem profitable. I guess this is a hand I keep. It's not the worst clock. Depending on my opponent's draw, like, it's pretty good. Attack for 2, and then 6, and then lethal. And then Bogles happens. Welcome to the wonderful world of Hexproof. Hibernation is kind of, like, some of their enchantments are green, but it's really exceptional because all the ones that I think this deck cares about, with the exception of Rancor, are not. So, like, if I hibernate, I get to KO Daybreak Cornets, Spirit Mantles, Hyena Umbras. It doesn't actually matter nearly as much against this deck as it does against Affinity. But Daybreak Cornet, Spirit Mantle, and Ethereal Armor. The Hyena Umbra thing is, like, the first strike versus Affinity actually matters, because if you have, like, an X10, it's very possible that it just, like, takes a hit for a Cranial Plated guy and just dies. The reach also matters there in Spider Umbra, but back to the actual game. I think I'm technically supposed to lead on this dork. I guess it, like, doesn't actually matter because if my opponent has a hexproof Merfolk, is there? Oh man, Triton, dude. Which one is it? It's from M11. There's, like, this ongoing joke about Tom Ma top 8ing the Pro Tour with 2 of this, like, 1 mana 1/1 or whatever in his deck. It's effectively Triton Shorecrasher, I remember. Oh, Merfolk Spy was what it was. Whenever, like, attacks that isn't block, you look at the top card of their deck. Okay. One big creature. Opponent can't attack here, really. Ding. I'd like to play this Curse Catcher so that my opponent can't path a creature that is attacking this turn. Oh, Dismember? Dismember that, so I counter not quite lethal, but good enough. see. Oh, wow. Wow. How convenient. 4 power. Or 4-4 versus 3-5. I didn't even think about that. I was like, oh yeah, my creature's just going to die. I was like trying to do math on first strikes. Just, no. No, no. My opponent's forced to block here and go to 1 life and die. Not very good at basic math right now. 4 is greater than 3, turns out. Really loving this extremely non-interactive matchup. Maybe I do want like a Vapor Snag or something. Spirit Dancer's kind of obnoxious. Tidebiner's not very. Excuse me. Tidebiner's not very good. I guess I like just don't want to get caught with a. We'll do 1-1 split. Like I don't want to get caught with a Vapor Sag in my hand, but this is me literally just admitting I don't know what the answer is, unfortunately. Yeah, that's not a hand. It's not good. It's a 6. Probably better than a 5. This is definitely a hope I make like 87 elemental tokens game. I'm about to get Spirit Dance, aren't I? Well, I want to reveal that. Trying to figure out if stifling my opponent's development is more important than getting. I think it is. In part because if I rejury next turn, I can. Yeah. I can deploy 2 Masters in a single turn pretty easily with a rejury in play. Whereas Spreading Seas is always a 2-mana card. And if I can get my opponent to... Cute. Cute. I think I am just supposed to do this here. It's very possible I die because I do that, but I make no promises in either direction. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Yep. That was stupid. Just default F6'd, drew a 1-drop, couldn't F3 in time. It's actually pretty bad. So, yeah, it's exceptionally bad right now because I lose a future devotion. I think I just played 2 Pearl Tridents. Die to a land. Don't know if there's much I can do about that. They die to a Dismember. Definitely, like, I guess this baits a Dismember the best. Kind of. The question I'm having is if my opponent attacks with the Spirit Dancer, if I'm supposed to double block. I feel like the answer might just be yeah. I get wrecked by a Dismember there. But I don't think that with my plan of like Master of Wavesing, I don't think there's a good line of dismembering or playing around dismember, I guess. Oh, okay. Well, that likely means I won the game. So Minamo, cool. Curse Catcher ends up on the battlefield regardless. No harm, no foul. And so if I attack with both of these, how can I die? So I'm effectively... Oh, no, they're just going to concede. So let's just think about this. So if my opponent draws a land and plays another Rancor, the Core Spirit Dancer goes to an 8-power creature. They'd have to have Dismember plus Rancor or Dismember plus Armor plus land. All of which are... I feel like if there's a Dismember... Again, this goes back to not playing around a Dismember because I just lose to it anyways. Though, let's see. The argument against attacking is that pretty much regardless, my opponent's dead next turn if I don't attack. Because there's 16, 17 power, 17 power of Merfolk. With me playing the Regery plus the million power of tokens. Yeah, attacking there is actually bad. Though, if my opponent makes an 8-power Dancer and I have to throw away a Master of the Pearl Trident to it, I don't know if I can realistically recover. So I think that I just have to play as if my opponent has like land, enchantment, dismember, I'm dead. I'm pretty sure they don't have a There's no way they'd have a dismember there or a land because they didn't attack with the Spirit Dancer last turn. If they had a dismember, they would have snap attacked and then killed a Master if I doubled. So they clearly don't have that. So talking continually through that, they could draw land, path the Master, but this attack's correct then because my opponent's at 9. Do I have to? I don't have to attack with both. So if my opponent draws and passes the Master, I play the Regery next turn and attack for enough to kill them. As long as I attack with a single Master of the Pearl Trident. If my opponent draws and plays a Plains and plays a Spirit Link on the Core Spirit Dancer, and attacks for 6, well, they're dead. I just block with a bunch of elementals and they die, so that's not an issue. So I think the correct attack is attacking with at least one Master of the Pearl Trident. Okay. And the difference between attacking with 1 and 2, I think, is kind of marginal.